जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद निताई गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा.
Very nice, Mataji. This is perhaps the most favorite bhajan of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would say that this Jayaragha Madhava kind of explains everything about Krishna and Srimati Radha. So devotees, let us read, let us recite the Mangalacharan. Maybe our Mahesh Prabhu can chant the Mangalacharan, right, Prabhu?
Yeah. I can do, Prabhuji. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjan-Shalakya Chakshurinmilitayen Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishya Stapitah Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamahyah Dadati Swapadantikamaha Vande Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalah Sri Guruna Vaishnavashah Sri Rupa Sangarachatah Sahagana Raghunani नितत संजीवमः साद्वैत सावधूत परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य देवः श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्विष्यः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. हरे बोल.
Very, very nice chanting, Prabhu. Very good. Okay, devotees, so we just concluded a very important chapter, devotional service, chapter 12. And Krishna has given us a lot of instruction how to become what are the qualities of a good devotee. So we see that there are so many, Krishna himself has given, many times, many chapter 12 itself gives a few. In fact, chapter 13, which we are going to read now, also gives a lot of qualities of a good person, spiritual person, especially verses 8 through 13 just talks about the qualities that is required for spiritual elevation. It's needed. So we are now getting into another important phase of verses, which many would acharyas would say that this is for jnana yoga. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is a combination of all karma, dhyana, bhakti, and all this. Ultimately, the goal is to understand the supreme entity, which is Krishna, whichever path you choose. As we can see today in devotees, knowledge is very important because, especially in the recent 10 years, you would see that it's very difficult to even for a very educated person, it's very difficult to differentiate between what is a real knowledge, what is a fake knowledge, what is real news, what is fake news. Every time, even there is nothing no more called a honest information or a honest opinion. Many years ago, there used to be TV, and there used to be one person talking about the news that happened during the day. That used to be considered as the news. It's all gone. It's no more news at all. It's all propaganda. Somebody is running that media. They're paying a lot of money and they spread the news as they want it. The same news. Somebody did something. Already there is two division of information. One says he did the right thing. Another group says he's done something wrong. So as a layman, as a common person who is supposed to get good information, it's gone. So Krishna, obviously, everything comes from Krishna. The intelligence, the knowledge comes from Krishna. Krishna wants us to be careful on that because bhakti is good. But Krishna, it seems like Krishna doesn't want us to just create blind bhakti. That is why in the world today we are saying, even after having Bhagavad Gita, even after having Krishna as personally appeared and is giving this wonderful instruction of in Bhagavad Gita, many people are not accepting it. They're saying, Baba, I follow some Baba or some sadhu or somebody. They are saying this, that. They don't want to. Why? Because they don't want to even put some effort to know what is the actual knowledge. So Krishna is going to talk about quite a bit on knowledge, which is important. I also personally feel that knowledge is very, very important. And then with that, when you have the bhakti, just knowledge will not help. You need the bhakti. Bhakti is the base. But with that, we have to build more foundation, and knowledge will give that. Even in ISKCON, we may see that sometimes many devotees, they join, after some time they leave. That is because they are getting some other information, some other knowledge, which may seem very easy or something practical or with a lot of adjustment. There are no regulation, there is no restriction. You can do whatever you want to do. I personally have some very close friends who have started following Buddhism. There's nothing wrong with Buddhism. It's a very bona fide spiritual realization. Lord Buddha is considered an incarnation of Krishna only. But Buddhism is not complete. At that particular point, Lord Buddha appeared and he gave certain philosophy to raise yourself to the platform of spiritual realization. But what Krishna is saying, the ultimate goal is to understand it. Key thing here. So let us read what Krishna is saying in chapter 13. And again, devotees, Acharyas have mentioned that chapter 13 is the most difficult chapter to understand because there is a lot of technical information in here. Unless you have the quality, your mind, is tuned to analyze all the different information. There is something called Kshetra, there is something called Prakriti, there is something called Kshetrana, there is something called Nayam. So it is very confusing, but once if it is understood, it gives a very good, realization. Wow, this is what is Krishna saying. And this we need it also for us to become perfect in Krishna consciousness. So devotees, having said that, there are two verses here actually, 1 and 2. And Srila Prabhupada has given quite a bit lengthy purport for at least number 2. Why don't we read this, devotee? I think what we can do, 3 devotees can read both the verses. That way it will be easier. Raghu Prabhu, you want to try?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Oh, yeah, I can try. Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyanam Evacha Etad Vedum Ichchami Jnanam Jnanam Gnayam Cha Kesava Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Sariram Kaunteya Kshetram iti abhityate etad yo veti tam prahu kshetrajna iti tadvidah. Hare Krishna. Back to you.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Okay, devotees, Bhashwati Mataji is here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyamiva cha Etad Veditum Ichchami Jnanam Gyeyam cha Keshava. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Sariram Kaunteya Kshetram Itya Avidhityate etad yo vetti tam prahu kshetragya iti tadvidaha. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol Mataji, very nice. Who else? Maybe Subal Prabhu, he didn't say anything today.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Sri Prabhupada Gurudeva. Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam cha Etad Vidatumicchami Gnanam Gneyam cha Keshava Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram iti abhidhiyate Etad yo veti tam prahu Kshetragna iti tadvidhi Vida. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol Prabhuji. We did 3, right? So now let us get into synonym and translation. May I know who is iPhone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Harini Mataji.
Oh, Harini Mataji. Would you like to read synonym and translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, somebody read, Prabhuji? I can read next one, Prabhuji, please.
Okay, sure,
I just came back from work, Prabhuji.
Oh, no, please. Krishna says work is very important. So,
No, I just came home, Prabhuji. Just next version I'll read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Let us say, Shalini Mataji, you want to read the synonym and translation?
Sure, Prabhuji. Arjun Arjun said, Prakritim, nature, Purusham, the enjoyer, Cha, also, Eva, certainly, Kshetram, the field, Kshetra Jnanam, the knower of the field, Eva, certainly, Cha, also, Etad, all this, Veditum, to understand, Ichhami, I wish,
Gnanam, knowledge. Gneyam, the object of knowledge. Cha, also. Keshava, O Krishna. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, the personality of Godhead said, Idam, this. Sariram, body. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Kshetram, the field. Iti, thus. Abhidhiyate is called. Etat, this. Yah, one who. Veti, knows. Tam, he. Puru, Prahu is called. Kshetragna, the knower of the field. Iti, thus. Tat Vidaha, by those who know this. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjun said, my dear Krishna, I wish to know about the Prakriti, Purusha, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. Hare Krishna.
Very nice reading, Mataji. Very bold. Devotees, who can read the purport? Okay, let us see. Please, devotees, go ahead. One of us can read.
I can read
Can
it
I
to
read,
Go
Prabhuji?
ahead.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I will read the first paragraph and
Okay,
second
Mahesh
paragraph.
Prabhu, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Purport. Arjuna was inquisitive about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, Kshetra, the field, Kshetrajna, its knower and knowledge, and the object of knowledge. When he inquired about all these, Krishna said that this body is called the field, and that one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. This body is the field of activity for the conditional soul. The conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence, and he attempts to lord it over material nature. And so, according to his capacity to dominate material nature, he gets a field of activity. That field of activity is the body. And what is the body? The body is made of senses. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification, and according to his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or field of activity. Therefore, the body is called kshetra, or the field of activity for the conditions. Now, the person who should not identify himself with the body is called kshetrajna, the knower of the field. It is not very difficult to understand the difference between the field and its knower. Uh, the body and the knower of the body. Any person can consider that from childhood to old age, he undergoes so many changes of body and yet is still one person remaining. Thus, there is a difference between the knower of the field of activities and the actual field of activities. A living conditioned soul can thus understand that he is different from the body. It is described in the beginning. Dehino Shmin, that the living entity is within the body, and the body is changing from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and from youth to old age. And the person who owns the body knows that the body is changing. The owner is distinctly Kshetrajna. Sometimes we think, I am happy, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a dog, I am a cat. These are the bodily designations of the knower, but the knower is different. But the knower is different from the body. Although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things used. Similarly, we also understand by a little contemplation that we are different from the body. I or you or anyone else who owns the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field of Prabhuji, could you please scroll down? Field of activities, and the body is called Kshetra, the field of activities itself. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Haribol.
Very good. Devotees, who can paragraph?
I can read, Prabhuji. Can you please scroll down, Prabhuji?
Sure.
It's not moving. Okay, I can just go. But the book. Prabhuji. Okay. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita.
Please go ahead.
Okay. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service are described. The superior position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the subordinate position of the individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. The living entities are subordinate under all circumstances, but in forgetfulness they are suffering. When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacities as the distressed, those in want of money, inquisitive, and those in search of knowledge. That is also described. Now, starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity comes into contact with material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge, and the discharge of devotional service are explained. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. This also is explained. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You want
to extend a little more?
Prabhuji, you have two connection. If you mute one, then yeah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, give me a second.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sorry. You can go ahead, Mother.
So, Prabhuji, in this the first 2 slokas, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that the living entity thinks that they are the bodies, but our real identity is that we are the soul, not the body. The body is temporary, and according to the capacity, that Prabhupada says, capacity means according to the past karma, we will get the body in this material world, and and the living entity, our tendency is to enjoy and enjoy separately from Krishna. But that's why Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that first 6 chapter described about Krishna as who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the next 6 chapters is described about what is our relationship between the soul and the super soul. And then in this chapter, that Prabhupada is explaining that what is the nature and the consciousness should be. So, and here in the first paragraph, what Prabhuji read, that we are the Kshetragya, the knower, right? No, the object of knowledge. So the Krishna, the body is called the knower of the field, and this body actually is the field of activity of conditioned soul. So why were conditioned soul because our soul is conditioned by our nature to enjoy ourselves without Krishna. So because of this forgetfulness, we are in this material world, because we forgot our relationship with our Supreme Father Krishna. So that is the reason we are suffering in this material world. And today I heard that from senior devotees that there are 4 defects we have because we forget our relationship with Krishna. That's why we have that 4 defects, the living entities. And therefore in this chapter we'll learn what Krishna is giving lessons to Arjuna, and about the understanding of the body, and also understanding the absolute truth, the knowledge. Prabhuji, please explain, Prabhuji, more. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna. Very nice, Mataji. Shalini Mataji, did you read? You want to say something on this?
I did not read Prabhuji, but
Okay.
from what I'm understanding here is that actually this is very technical, like you said. I'm not sure I'm fully understanding this, Prabhuji. Please help.
Yeah. Yeah, it is quite very technical. If you're all able to see this, this might little bit make it little more clear. Okay. So let us see. Are you able to see this, devotees? 13.1?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so here there are 6 kind of we cannot call it as a topic, but I mean 6 component that Arjuna is asking. That, oh Krishna, you have shown me you have talked about yourself, you have shown me the universal form, but still, then what is this Prakriti? What are we supposed to do? What is the perfect understanding of this? Which is knowledge. So the 6th question asked by Arjuna is Prakriti. Prakriti, we all know, is the nature. Like whatever happened in this world, morning comes, night comes, we are all born, we take certain shape, we have certain feelings, we have certain emotion, there is success, there is failure. We have no control on those. Right now, Shalini Mataji was saying it is getting cold in Kolkata, and I was talking to somebody. I'm still in Chennai, which is very warm. It's almost like it is like 85 degrees, whereas in Delhi, where I'm supposed to go there within next 2-3 days, it's almost like freezing temperature. So why does this happen? Who can control it? Man has tried to control this little bit. We have a heat cooler at our home. There is a thermostat. We can do it, but overall, still we cannot control it. Sometimes rain pours, there is flood. Sometimes there is drought. There is no rain at all. So this material nature is an energy of Krishna. So we cannot do anything. We have to act according to that nature only. We cannot change. There is no point in trying to change that. So then comes Purusha. So Purusha, as we all know, devotees, Krishna is the Purusha, enjoyer. He has already mentioned this in chapter 5. He says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That Arjuna, I am the ultimate enjoyer of everything. So the matter, whatever in this material world, which is the Prakriti, we do, the enjoyer is Krishna, but there is also a tiny component of that Purusha, which is our individual jivas. So that is what is called the Kshetra and the Kshetrana. Kshetra means through this material senses, through this body, which has got 24 elements of senses, we are able to interact with the material nature. That is what Krishna has given, this tool. Like an iPhone, you can call somebody, you can get connected with many of the website, you can send messages. There are so many things you can do, but that is still a tool only. So that is what is the Kshetra. Kshetra we can consider as the tool. And Kshetrana is one who experiences the tool, which is, we can call it as our senses. We experience it through our senses. And the knowledge, the perfect knowledge, to a greater extent, we can call this as our soul. The soul knows what is the perfect knowledge, which is Krishna, and the name is the object. Krishna is the object of the knowledge. For example, medicine is the subject of study, and the person who reads that, who acquires jnana, he's called as a PhD or MD or whatever you want to call. But the object of that MD or the research PhD is to know about the subject matter, which is medicine. That is, which is Krishna. So this is a combination of what happens in our world, this material world. We are in this Prakriti, the material nature. We have to understand that Purusha, which is Krishna, is the ultimate enjoyer. Yes, if we understand Krishna perfectly, we can also enjoy. That is called the real enjoyment, Ananda. So we can also experience that Chachitananda, but provided if we know who is the ultimate enjoyer. The individual jivas can only enjoy limited, only upon our, we can only enjoy about ourself, our feeling, our realization. We cannot really understand the enjoyment of others. Kshetra, as we know, we have talked about it, that is the our senses and this material body that has been given. Kshetrana is again our senses and body that goes through the experiences, all different. Whatever we do, 24/7 is happening between the Kshetra and the Kshetrana. And the perfect knowledge, the soul has always got perfect knowledge. But right now, it's not able to explore its fullest potential because of this material nature. And the name, as we know, is Krishna, the object of the knowledge. What is knowledge? There are so many knowledge, right? There is relative knowledge, then the absolute knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is about absolute knowledge. What is the ultimate thing I should know? There are so many technologies happening. Right now, the most hottest topic in technology is artificial intelligence. But Bhagavad Gita is not, Krishna is not about artificial intelligence. Krishna is about the real absolute intelligence, absolute knowledge. So, this is what is Krishna is going to explain in the next few verses. How to understand this. Now we can say, why do I need all this thing? It is better we know. It is easier said than done that I'm not this body. I am part and parcel of Purusha. But how many of us can implement that constantly and consistently? Can anybody here in this group, are we able to act all the time that I'm part and parcel of Krishna? All the time. Shalini Mataji, what do you think?
No, Prabhuji, that is very difficult. There are times when you realize that and you remember Krishna, and there are times when you forget and you just go back to being the old selfish self. But as much as possible, I think that is the aim of bhakti, to remember Krishna always and be a better
Correct.
person.
Correct. No, it's very, very difficult. We are just, meager human being. But even the great munis, Mamunis, Maharishis, Maharathis, they also had trouble, right? Even Arjuna, a great devotee of Krishna and a very dear friend of Krishna, he himself is in a delusion. He should be perfect in knowledge. But anyhow, this is part of Krishna's Leela that he has put him in such a podium. But it happens. So, knowledge is also very important in many, many things. A father loves a child when the child loves him very unconditionally. At the same time, the same father also loves equally of a child who is very intelligent. He knows his father perfectly. What is his father about? One is love, full unconditional love, that is also very good. The other one is also got love, but it is mostly with an intelligence. Like, for example, a president of a country, he might have many children. One children just loves him just for him as a father. Another person, another child understand that father of all his qualities, of all the activities that he is performing, of all the powers that he possesses. That is also, the father likes that also, because the intelligence is ultimately coming from Krishna. Krishna is also very pleased when someone can understand all this question raised by Arjuna perfectly. That does not mean the person who is devotee, who is following bhakti path, will not understand this. They will. But if they also understand the technical aspect of it, it becomes much more solid, Then there is no deviation. Because every now and then we get away from Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we accept Krishna, that Krishna, whatever I'm doing it for you. The next moment, after 5 minutes, our mind changes. So that is what we have to really understand, that Purusha is Krishna. My soul is also part and parcel of Krishna, which is the Kshetra. But I'm also part of Purusha. But Krishna has given me this body and the senses to experience that, to go through, to deal with that Prakriti. Today, almost most of the people, they may not have any idea about Purusha or Kshetra or Kshetrana. They know Prakriti. They'll say, yeah, I know there is something called a nature, but I don't know what to do with it. I'm just going to take one day at a time, lead my life. That's what is happening all over the world. But people who are little more knowledgeable, they will try to spend some time on this. Even reading Bhagavad Gita is considered as a matter of knowledge. Otherwise, people will say, I know that there is a God. I know God will take care of me, something like that. But we have to, Srila Prabhupada always used to say, just saying Krishna is great is not enough. You have to know how much great he is. Then our mind will, because our mind all said and done, it's not fully matured. It needs lot of confirmation and reaffirmation and affirmation repeatedly. Every morning, we have to know that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. Krishna, whatever I'm doing, it's only for you. You are going to enjoy. With that mindset, if you work, it's difficult, but that's what is the practice. Krishna has already explained, chapters 7 through 12. What are we supposed to do? Right? So, Subal Prabhu, any thoughts on this? How we can, the senses are there, the sense objects are there, the object of knowledge is Krishna, Neyam. How do we really spend more time in Neyam for Krishna rather than Prakriti? We cannot do anything. They say that you cannot change the circumstances, but you can adjust your consciousness perfectly. Any thoughts, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then, yes, Prabhuji wonderfully explained. As we can see in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, was explained, and the position, by which we can understand the Lord Krishna. And now in the middle 6 chapters, we just the Bhakti Yoga part. The relationship between the individual soul and the super soul was, Krishna explained in much greater detail. And, now the superior position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead was also discussed. And now we can see that Arjuna, he's now more inquisitive, and he's asking about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Gnana, and Niyam, which is the ultimate object of the knowledge. So Krishna describes that Gnana mixed with bhakti, while indirectly showing Kevala bhakti to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So Krishna speaks detail about all these things, starting from this 13th chapter, and how the living entity comes in contact with the material nature, and he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through different methods of fruitive activities, as you explained, cultivating of the knowledge and discharging of the devotional service. And even though the living entity is completely different from the material body, Krishna explains how he becomes related, and he gives all this in great analogy. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Well said. Yeah, go ahead,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, just now I have reached my home. In our Madras, you are in Chennai, na, Prabhuji? 30th or 31st Vaikuntha Ekadasi. That is, I am having some doubt, Prabhuji.
Here it is 30th, which is today, Prabhu, Tuesday.
Our
Tuesday
ISKCON
is
also,
Vaikuntha.
our ISKCON also declared.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay,
ISKCON
Prabhuji.
also, 30th is the Vaikuntha. Whether we could, today, it is called in two different names,
Prabhuji.
Putrada Ekadashi or Vaikuntha Ekadasi. They all, they all the same. The background is the same, that
Oh,
when
Prabhuji.
we surrender our mind, all our body, our kshetrana, everything to Purusha, with perfect name. That is what is Ekadasi. All Ekadasi is about, but this is a very special Ekadasi. I believe there was a king who had committed some sins in his past life, and he was not having any children. Especially per our Vedic kind of understanding, a person should always have children, so that that is the one of the main karma that he has to perform in this material world. It has been only procreation, right? So that is so, but he was not having any children. Then all his ministers would go and find out. They will find a muni. He knows all the past, present, and future, little bit, not like Krishna, but that Muni would say that he has done some sin. Especially, it seems like he deprived a mother cow and a calf of drinking water. He wanted to drink water, but at the same time, there was a cow and a calf. They also wanted to drink water, but he, drove away them. So it is considered as a sin, especially with a small child, the calf. So that is where we have to understand, does not matter what kshetra one gets. It can be in the body of an animal, it can be in the body of any kind of bugs, insects, birds, but they are also part and parcel of Krishna. That is why we have to understand what are all this Prakriti, what are all the kshetras and what are all the kshetrana. That is why, even in our Vedic knowledge, we worship almost many of the animals. But at the same time, you should have a good knowledge that we cannot really too much interact with all the animals also, because every entity has got its own qualities and gunas. Anyhow, getting back to this Putrada, so finally they all observe Ekadasi Vrata during this Putrada Ekadasi, and it is also known as Vaikuntha Ekadasi. It is said that whoever follows Ekadasi Vrata on this day, there for them the doors of Vaikuntha is open. So I'm sure we will all do that. But today is the Tuesday is Ekadasi, Prabhu. Does that answer your question, Prabhu? Okay. Prabhuji, maybe you are on mute, looks like, but.
Prabhuji. Just now I came and I am very, very happy about you all, our Tampa ISKCON devotees, Prabhuji. I cannot forget my cooperation, your cooperation. So I will remember all our Tampa ISKCON temple devotees, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, you reached safely to India, Prabhuji. How was your trip?
Just 10 minutes, Mataji, just 10 minutes I have reached. I want to listen all our devotees' voice so that I have opened this one, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hari
Thank
Bol.
you. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Haribol, for your interest and enthusiasm, Prabhu. That is very nice. So, devotees, any thoughts on this? So, there are so many ways of understanding this that I'm not part of the body, I'm not part of Prakriti. This has been followed by many, many philosophies. Like we briefly mentioned about Buddhism, Jainism to a large extent also follows that I'm not this body. But to consistently act upon it is what is Krishna consciousness. And bhakti really confirms all the other paths of yoga, that how we can successfully understand Krishna. That is ultimate goal. We cannot be doing sinful activities. We cannot have a lot of anarthas and also try to understand Krishna. It's not possible. Krishna himself says, Na vanchati, na shochati. He says that don't develop unwanted desires and speculation. It will not be conducive to your spiritual advancement. What is the spiritual? What is the name here? Krishna. We won't be able to understand. We cannot be sitting in a bar drinking alcohol and saying that I'll try to understand Krishna. It will not happen because the energy will not allow us to do it. Bhashati Mataji, any more thoughts on this particular verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, very nicely explained about the all the points. Prakriti is the material nature, what is created by um, Karnadoksha Vishnu's material, a glance to the material energy. That way, this material nature created, and Purusha is our Krishna. So we have to think, as you mentioned, that not rather focusing on the material energy, Krishna's material energy, but we should focus on his spiritual energy and to the Purusha, the Krishna. And that way we'll be able to, as you mentioned, like, can we just think 24 hours that we are the part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So it is, as Mataji said, it's very difficult, it's challenging. So that's the pure devotee does all the time. They think themselves that they are the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, and their only identity is that is their identity, and their only karma is to serve the Lord, to please the Lord. They do not even want, as Shuttavata Muni in Damodarashtakam says, Param Deva Mokshamna Moksham Badimba. So he doesn't want any moksha. He just wants to serve Krishna, to see Krishna's beautiful face. So that's the devotee's main goal. Not to ask anything for them, but asking only how to please Krishna. That should be the prayers, Prabhuji. So that's the field of knowledge in the kshetra, in this field, in our body. And kshetragga is that person who got that knowledge. That's kshetragga. So, Prabhuji, that's
Yeah.
it. Just would like to
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very nicely explained, Mataji. See, for example, again, let's go back to the iPhone. Are we iPhone? Definitely not. Any common person, would understand that I'm not iPhone. I'm not the car. They will understand this. But sometimes, most times rather, because of the material nature, Prakriti, we get attached to that. We think iPhone is, and me, we are the same. I cannot live without my iPhone. Honestly, today, in today's world, it is almost becoming a reality. People cannot live without iPhone. So the moment we understand that we are not the body, that itself is a great spiritual realization. And then who are we is the next question. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We are Jivatma. We belong to that, supreme entity Paramatma, which is Krishna. So that with that understanding, I think devotees should have that much of understanding, complete, not partial, not once in a while or once in a momentary thing in a day. Satatam, Sarvesu Kaleshu. Krishna is very particular about that. He's not saying you just think about me sometime. No. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. All the time. Sarvesu Kaleshu. Arjuna, you fight. No problem. But you have to think about me all the time and fight. That's the criteria Krishna is giving. I think it is a very reasonable criteria. Krishna is saying, if you do that, I am for you. Krishna serves devotees. If you get to that kind of an understanding that, I'm able to think about Krishna all the time. Once if you can think about Krishna all the time, all your activities will be Krishna consciousness activity. Like all our senior devotees, our Guru Maharaj or all, how our Guru Maharaj are all conducting. Not even a fraction of moment they do anything non-Krishna consciousness. I personally experienced this with my Guru Maharaj and various other Maharaj. They have nothing, they have no other business. They have left everything. There's nothing called me or I or my community or my family. Whatever they do, outwardly it may seem, hey, why are you building, why do you want to build a center? For Krishna. Why do you want to build an ashram? For Krishna. That is their mood, that is what is perfection in Krishna consciousness. So we have example in ISKCON, so many Maharaj, so many highly elevated devotees, they have left everything and all their activities is only for Krishna. So very quickly, devotees, uh, who can read this? We have only a few more minutes. This is what is Krishna saying on 2. Can somebody read this in a meaningful way? You don't have to read each and every one thing. But what is the first A? Body as a?
I can read.
Activity.
Okay. Yeah. Just give the
Body,
highlight.
yeah, body as a field of activity for whom? For the conditioned soul. Why does he get this field? The soul is entrapped in material existence because of attempts to lord it over. Criteria to decide which body, according to the capacity to dominate material energy. So we get the body according to how we dominate the material energy. Then capacity to enjoy sense gratification. So both of these will, according to the karma, we get a particular body. Uh, uh, if it's about enjoying sense gratification, then that's the body we're going to get.
Right.
Krishna, should I continue?
Yeah, continue, Prabhu. And somebody else can
Okay.
read number C. Yeah.
Okay. Krishna Jnana, how to understand the difference between the body and the knower of the body. Based on changing phases of the body. Body is constantly changing from childhood to old age, but one remains the same person. Intuitive understanding, although we may use many articles, we are different from the body. And those articles, we may think I'm happy, I'm not, I'm a man, etc. These are bodily designations of knower. So those are bodily designations of the. From what I understand between Kshetra and Kshetra, Kshetra is changing, right? I mean, with time it is changing, but the knower of the body is not. So,
That is perfect understanding, Prabhu. Kshetra,
okay.
the field, yeah, there may be so many changes because it is part and parcel of the Prakriti. But the knower of that field, which is the soul, and if we utilize it properly, the soul knows that I'm not part of this at all. Like a person would know, I'm not iPhone. Hey, I'm just going to use this. Our Maharaj also use iPhone, but they're not identifying it with that. They're just using it. They know what is the purpose of this tool, which is the field, and what activities am I supposed to do on that field. That is the perfect Kshetranya, the person who understand that I've been given a field to play, and how would I play? Can somebody read C, devotees?
Hare
I can.
Krishna. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Comparison of knowledge in three sections of Bhagavad Gita. First six chapters discusses the knower of the body and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord. Middle six chapters discusses the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationship between the individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service. It describes the superior position of Krishna and the subordinate position of the living entity, four kinds of pious men who approach the Lord. Last six chapters explains how the living entity comes in contact with material nature, explains how living entity is delivered by the Lord through different methods. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
very nice, Mataji. Yeah, as we can see, the Bhagavad Gita, again, these are all interpretation by different acharyas, and either you can do it through the karma yoga. You can understand that you are the knower of the body, and what is your position, what to do, how to do the perfect activity. The middle six chapters, 7 through 12, is what we are following. That we know the intimate relationship between a devotee and the Supreme Lord Krishna, which is not there, maybe or may not be. It's not that all jnana people don't, they're not devotees of Krishna. There are so many jnanis. There also, Janaka is a great jnani, but he's also great devotee of Krishna. Bhishma is also great jnani. He is also great devotee of Krishna. But normally, because of your material, composition of all this body and the senses, you try to focus on one particular kind of path. So, for example, people who follow karma yoga, they are not paying too much of the intimate relationship of devotion. Same thing with the last six chapters. There are so many people, they just want to understand this whole thing. What is this Prakriti? What is this Kshetra? What is this Kshetrana? How can I understand this? How did this all happen? They are trying to understand more on an analytical and intelligent way. To some extent, we need that also. We need the intelligence to that extent to understand that Krishna is the source of everything. That is also part of the. If we read chapter 7, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanaman Prapatyate. He's not saying Bhaktiman. And that verse is saying that intelligent person who can understand that Vasudeva, Krishna, is everything, is very special, is Mahatma. So we have to understand. To understand Krishna also is an intelligence. So we should not think if somebody is trying to be jnani, is all is a waste of time and they would not reach Krishna. That's not the ultimate. But bhakti is very, very efficient because bhakti has understood the final, the name. Bhakti has understood the object of the knowledge. So our time, we have already understood our goal, and then we can concentrate more on that. But for in the other two, their goals are it's not very well defined. A jnani doesn't know what is the ultimate goal, whether it is Prakriti or it is the Supreme, the Brahman or Paramatma, there is a lot of speculation on that. But for devotees, there is no speculation. It's just all Krishna. We start with Krishna. Our goal is to continue with Krishna. Devotees, any final thought before we conclude? It's a very difficult chapter, uh, but I think let us pay special attention to verses 8 through 13. Krishna is going to talk about more qualities of devotees.
So I just want to say one thing, Prabhuji. The Gyanis need the knowledge to get to the bhakti. I mean, if we if we don't have that faith, then we need to cultivate the knowledge so that we can slowly understand the whole thing and then develop the bhakti. I think that's what the last 6 chapters are trying to get to, I think.
Definitely, Prabhu. The purpose of jnana ultimately is to know Krishna. But jnana helps us. That's it. It's not the ultimate thing. Bhakti, the goal is very well defined. We know Krishna is everything, but at the same time, if you are not fully convinced about that, what is you, the individual soul, and what is the Paramatma, and what is Prakriti, that you are not this body, if you are not able to act upon it fully, then to some extent it means that you are lacking the intelligence to understand Krishna. It is like saying, I know smoking causes bad health, but still you are smoking. That means you're not understood. You don't have the real knowledge. If somebody says, I know it is wrong, but still I'm doing it, that means that you have not really understood the effects of smoking. Something like that, you know. So knowledge is also important, but the ultimate purpose of knowledge is to know Krishna. So it's required also. I'm not saying that jnana path is better than bhakti. That's not the case at all. Krishna is very, very clear. Chapter 12 has completely established that bhakti path is the best. But for that bhakti path, we need intelligence also. What is that intelligence? Some of this technical aspect of it. You can learn it through bhakti also, this the same thing, but we have to understand that thing is called jnana. Whether you learn it through karma or bhakti or jnana, the understanding that we are not the body, all these activities is for Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate shelter. Krishna is the ultimate destination. This we have to understand.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, so devotees, any more final thoughts or shall we conclude here? Mahesh Prabhu, you want to say anything final before we conclude?
No, very nice discussion, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you very much for giving us this information. Yeah, and this is really required. Uh, all the paths of the like spirituality and philosophy. Yeah, and I'm trying to understand like how they are interconnected. Yeah, and different terms here like Purush, Prakriti, Kshetra, Kshetratna, and all these. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Haribol.
Right. All devotees, all in a very simple language, at every activity, we have to think that Krishna has given this tool, which is the body, and we do act according to the sense, the contact between our this tool and the senses, and how can we really divert all this thing for Krishna? We obviously our senses are going to force us to see, to hear, to talk, to touch. So many things we have to do it because that is Krishna has given that kind of a tool. We'll be forced to act upon that. Krishna is saying, even there is nobody that cannot be doing any other activity. It's not possible. They are going to act according to their how they utilize the senses. So the success of Krishna consciousness is that once if we understand that yes, we have so many senses, and how can we control and divert all those senses towards Krishna? And that is what Srila Prabhupada has very nicely given us, the full Krishna consciousness lifestyle, the path from morning. When do we wake up? What do we do immediately after waking up? Then what do we do? Then what do we eat? How do we eat? Everything is very nicely explained throughout the day. So we are in a much better position, devotees. Let us try to continue as much as we can. Try to follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. I think everything will be very clear. So with that, we'll conclude here, devotees. This is a very tough chapter. I'm sure we'll all get more elevated, knowledge-wise also. We shall conclude now, devotees. Vancha kalpatrubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. ISKCON Tempa Sankirtana ki jai. ISKCON Tempa Bhagavad Gita study ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hari bol, devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.